to Afrasia Productions, Scullers Jazz, my house. And I'm going to have a seat. Welcome. I hope you're comfortable. I've got nothing to offer you except for music.
Sorry for that.
Sorry for the delay, too. We are experiencing these kind of hiccups because, after all, we're all kind of sorting this stuff out. I mean, if this is going to be the future of live performance, then, you know, it'll take a minute or two before we actually can roll with you. But in the meantime, I just want to say thanks for joining us. I'm not really recognized for being a vocalist who sits and plays piano. I've been spoiled by so many awesome musicians over my career. But as a writer, of course, you got to have tools. And the piano has been my tool. And in the last 5 years of my life, I decided I should probably take a guitar lesson just because I was collecting so many and didn't know the first thing about any of them. So the result is my compositions born out of many years of attempting to make my own statement in the jazz genre and just in music in general, I would say. So sit back and relax. I'm going to try and do the same thing. Forgive me for my hiccups, because there will be a few, but maybe that, at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. Is, you know, you're being part of this whole moment of vulnerability, which is exactly how it feels for me. And breathe with me. So we're going to start now with a tune that, let's see, I recorded this with Oscar Castro Neves on an album called Changes, which is, oh yeah, which is over here. You see a little bit of it. And this is the last track on Changes. Is called Where Love Surrounds Us. Stars are brightly shining. The man in the moon is smiling. A tender caress that feels so right tonight. Leave our worries behind us. Let's go to a place where no one will find us. Come inside with me tonight, where love surrounds us. The sound of music in the air, a kind of haunting melodic refrain. The breath of a kiss, so soft and rare, but nothing is so great as the glow on your face tonight. Alright, so today it's all about songs I've written. That's it. This tune can be heard, it's called Blue Woman. It's a tune on my brother Curtis Lundy's recording called Against All Odds. And we did this back in sometime in the late 80s. And Roy Hargrove plays a beautiful, beautiful solo, flugelhorn solo on this tune. So you may want to get that, add that to your collection too. We're going to do that right now. Blue Woman. Now I think there's probably going to be some questions. You probably have a few extras. Don't be shy. Talk to me, because right now the only thing I'm hearing is sort of silence. Let's see. I've got another tune for you. And speaking of my brother, this was actually the first recording I ever did with him on his first record, Never Gonna Let You Go. And let's see if I can pull this one off. let you go. I'm gonna let you know. I'm never gonna let you go. Loving you is strange sometimes. We're so close, yet we're so far apart. What powerful force is it that's brought us together to share this life? I look deep into my soul, where my feelings lie. There you are, staring at me, and now I realize you become a part of me. You made me love you. Wanna let you know I'm never ever gonna let you go. I wanna let you know I'm never gonna let you go. Come on, love, take me in your arms and never let me go. The power of love so strong, it made me lose my control. You came into my life when I needed you most. Held me close and whispered to me. You said I love you, dear, and promised that you never, ever leave. Promise that you never, never leave, never leave me. Never leave, never leave, never leave. Never leave, never leave, never leave, never leave. I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. So how does it sound out there? Can you hear me? Or should I, can you hear me? How do I get a yes? Can I get an amen? Can I get an affirmative? You hear me? So I just want to let you know that the contributions for today's presentation from my home here in Los Angeles, we really want to acknowledge the Jazz Foundation of America for their commitment, their COVID-19 emergency relief, for the musicians who are absolutely looking at a giant question mark about our future. And it's huge. All of you who are participating, thank you. The donations if you can send them to Fraser Production via Venmo and PayPal. Fraser Productions via Venmo and or PayPal. And support the Jazz Foundation of America. Your support, that small little incremental contribution really impacts the global condition for most of our artists, for all of our artists really. And I'm going to tell you, this has been rough. Okay, this has been a rough period. I mean, most of us as creative people are trying to sort out, we're looking for creative ways to continue. And in the meantime, I think it's important that we remain creative, remain hopeful, and we're going to get through this. in time, and this too shall pass. We are facing many, 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 many different struggles right now, and we don't have answers for all of them, but the music is definitely the answer, and I think that's what's going to keep us holding tight. I'm going to play another tune for you. This I wrote, this is actually the title track from a CD called Come Home that we released, I think maybe back in 2009 to 2010, I don't remember exactly, but some time ago. And I had help with the lyric, thank you Deborah Ash, and I hope you dig this one. My sister, I remember her. Running through the sun in our backyard, swinging, running, just feeling good. I remember those days today. The look in her eye, looking up at me. Laughing, safe as she could be. I remember those days of innocence. I remember those days today. Whispering, come home. A voice within keeps whispering, come home. Why wait until spring or when love begins? Told me jump in and swim. My life is filled with sweet mysteries, and I remember those days today. Say I'm dreaming. Why wait until spring or when love begins? My mama told me jump in and swim. My life is filled with sweet memories, and I remember those days today. Come home. A voice within keeps whispering, come home. I can hear him say, oh, dreaming, oh, swinging, oh, fooling around, oh, yeah, sing it with me, sing it with me, oh, dreaming, oh, swinging, oh, fooling around, oh, just feeling good, feeling good. Should go back and get that note. Grab that note. Okay. So let's see.
Talk a little bit about your piano.
Oh, the piano. Okay, this piano, my piano or my piano playing? So I love this piano. I absolutely love you. This piano is so awesome. It's just like righteous, and it responds to you and anything you want. It's just a great instrument. 7 feet, 110 years old, if not older. I think it was 1910. And this piano was made of solid rock maple. And that's, I don't even think you can grow those trees anymore, but don't ask me. I just know that I love this instrument. Never hold me like before. I never feel your touch anymore. We never kiss or share a smile, not even for a little while. You say you love me now and then. You're happier than you ever been. Somehow the words just don't ring true. It hurts to think I'm losing you. Where do I go wrong? What do I do? Nothing, it seems, is pleasing you. It's never enough. I'm always to blame. One thing is clear, you're not the same. You're not in love, no, you're not. I wanna feel you in my arms, to feel the rapture of your charms. I miss the light inside your eyes. I miss the moments of surprise. You're not the lover I once knew. You're never here when I need you. If I'm not all you thought I'd be, let me know and set me free. You tell me you love me time and again, but lately it seems it's come to an end. I'm giving you all I have and more. Can it be like it was before? You're not in love. Sometimes I wonder how to get that feeling again. Sometimes I wonder Chat.
People tuning from all over. Yeah, go on and chat.
Yes. Any questions? You want me to play another tune? I don't hear you. Okay. Let's see.
Maybe a little bit about your process and your.
Elizabeth is suggesting I talk a little about my process. Through the years, writing has become more and more of a defining aspect of my contribution to the music. It's been a very tough road having chosen this, particularly coming through the songbook and learning every inside out scat solo of the great Ella Fitzgerald from Sarah Vaughan, and I can't even touch Betty Carter's, improv. I've tried, I certainly have, and I was kind of on this track of just really wanting to figure out where I fit into all of this pantheon of great vocalizing. And the process began with looking for a way to take ownership of any song I do, whether it's a great standard or something that just happened to occur in my process of writing. And I do many things. So I can record this little basic idea, take that, lay that on a track, and then go add my drums, add my bass, add my guitar, add anything, just to kind of find where the tune really lives. So when you get a record from me, if you listen to Soul to Soul, if you listen to Code Noir, or Changes, or it started with Solamente, by the way, which is an album where I play all the instruments. I didn't plan on it being a record. It just that I was talked into putting it out that way. But you can hear that there is this sort of a arranging of ideas to kind of support this melody and support this concept that has evolved over time. But it really does start right here with just coming to the piano, I don't know, with a blank canvas, really. Sometimes there's some kind of a melody in your head, or maybe a rhythmic thing or a harmonic thing, but when you come, it's really a blank canvas when you start. So all of these tunes have evolved that way. And I think now my catalog is well into the hundreds, maybe getting to be like 150 published tunes, which is quite an accomplishment, I will say. So I know, it gets hot in here when you start talking like that. So I think I want to do another tune for you. This is the first track, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, that is on the Solamente project that I told you about. And here it goes something like this. has to give. We have all been there before, behind the large unopened door. Beauty, proud as an eagle, yeah, yeah. She's an angel. She only wants to fly. She only wants to fly. She simply wants to spread her wings. She only wants to fly. Fly away, fly away, fly away. Whoa. So yes, this is the first time I've ever done this in my life. Now you see why there's so many great musicians on the bandstand, because this is daunting. And while I absolutely, I'm comfortable with this, but not in front of you. So I tend to spend a day or two just working on the piano part. That's kind of the way we arrive at our recordings. So yeah, this is, it's liberating in a way too. It's actually liberating because now, the secret's out. It's like, oh, okay, so she really, okay. So that's kind of cool that the secret's out, and this lifelong journey of stumbling into composition as a means to get you to, dig where I'm coming from. Now this is, I saw something on Facebook earlier or Instagram where the guy says, hey, I hope you're going to do something Good Morning Kiss. Good Morning Kiss is my first release. There were several recordings prior to that. I mentioned a couple of them to you, the one with Curtis. I did some work with Walter Bishop Jr., if you know who that is. I did one of his tunes. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking with Christian McBride with his Jazz House Kids, and he threw up this album called Jasmine, Jasmine. And there's a tune on that record called Angelica. His dad was playing bass on this recording. So if you really want to say you have everything Carmen's done, then you got to find Angelica. Originally on West 54 Records, it was a tune written by Roger Rosenberg. Beautiful tune, Angelica. So here's a tune from Good Morning Kiss. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shoot you. so beautiful. I know. Should do. Should do. Thank you. Okay, that tune, Time is Love, I wrote in my composition class in 1970, maybe 76, maybe 1976 I wrote that tune. And first track on Good Morning Kiss makes sense to me. Bobby Watson did an incredible arrangement of this particular record. I mean, you got to hear this. Victor Lewis, Curtis Lundy, Harry Whitaker. It's a great one. It's a great one. So yes, I want to stop for a second and tell you how this came to be. I've played Scullers in Boston a few times now under new management, and the club has really seen a transformation. And as you all know, we're all kind of finding ourselves without, being able to come to the stage. And we got a wonderful invitation from Jan Mullen, hi Jan, to join you in this living room series out of Scullers. So at first I was reluctant, very reluctant, because the idea of this was so foreign to me. I wasn't really sure about it, but I want to thank you for it, because you made me practice. You made me sit down and really sort this out. And, there are a lot of tunes, folks. There's a bunch of tunes. So if I don't play the one that you really were counting on hearing, I apologize in advance. But some of the tunes lend themselves to, pare down like this, and I can pull it off more or less in this context without the rhythm section and all the other things that we come to rely on. I'm also choosing not to set up a PA and sing through a microphone and do all of that. I've got the piano lid open, so just for the tonality and the sound in the room, it just feels better to have the lid up. But it also forces me to have to sing out and over the piano. So there are a few adjustments that this has brought up, but you've done that for me, Jan. You've actually kind of brought me to another level of a commitment to the idea of perhaps maybe coming to the stage and doing a couple tunes. I think maybe in the last 5 years you've seen me at the piano 3 times on a gig, maybe in an encore. So here we are, and God, it took this horrific situation in our planet for us to come together like this. Once again, we are donating our proceeds to the Jazz Foundation of America. And Bridget Sullivan and all the work you all are doing to support us through this most horrific, difficult time. And it might get a little harder before it gets easier, but that's what the Jazz Foundation is here for, to kind of smooth out these rough patches. So we really appreciate any and all that you can do, your contributions to our Fraser Productions via Venmo and PayPal. Okay? So you got any questions for me? Anybody? Is there a question popping up? Anybody?
Just
Question?
comments, things like anything from your new album.
What else?
Or what's next on your playlist?
That's a question? No. Oh, okay. So here's a tune that I wrote for my mom. Gentle is your love, softer than a breeze, radiant as a flower. These things you are to me, sweet as summer rain, quieter than a stream, as the sun. These things you are to me. Eyes that glow in the night, sparkling like diamonds, reflecting like gold. A smile so warm and a kiss so heavenly. These are the things you are to me. Smoother than the wind, blowing through the trees, fresh as morning air. These things you are to me. Who will you be? How they oh boy, who you will be? Eyes that glow in the night, sparkling like diamonds, reflecting like gold. A smile so warm and a kiss so heavenly. These are the things you are to me. Smoother than the wind, blowing through the trees, precious morning air. These things you are to me. Okay, I could switch gears. I'm gonna switch gears.
They're asking for it.
Asking for what? What you asking for? So remember I was telling you that I took a guitar lesson? Literally, one. Okay? Looking out on the horizon, deep in a daydream, I'm feeling happy, feeling good, or so it seems. But is it all in my mind? Is it fantasy or a daunting reality? Feeling your love light shining on me. It's such a beautiful feeling, so fulfilling, so beautiful. When it's early in the morning, just before the rising sun, I say a prayer for peace and a better world for everyone. And each and every night, when I touch you dreaming right by my side, I know life is all about love. The moment you open your eyes, they say that heaven is far beyond the sky, far beyond the seven seas. And this beautiful feeling I'm feeling, so beautiful, so beautiful. Beautiful, 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 yeah. So beautiful. There you go.
People are asking, is there anything you can't do?
Oh. So, I'm not certain. I was expecting you to have so many more questions. I don't know. I just kind of thought that you would be more conversational and just kind of check in. But if you want to hear more music, that's fine with me. You know, this
Someone asked about your artwork and your sculptures and what people are seeing behind you.
Oh, what you're seeing. That's a great question. I don't know how far to the right you can see, but there's a painting over there, Woman Seeking Higher Ground.
Talk about your sculpture behind
The sculpture behind me. Now, this piece is a bench, if a stool or a bench, however you'd like to look at it. And it's actually composed of leftover materials from a remodel, for a home remodel. And, you know, they would end up with this giant piece of wood and it would just be a throwaway. And I collected what I could actually physically handle and ended up kind of moving them around until I arrived at this piece of furniture here. Behind me, over to on my left shoulder, I have several sculptures where I've composed musical instruments, and I don't destroy the instruments. Some of them are in disrepair, but I don't tear them up because they're in disrepair. But I have found a way to construct these musical instruments to tell a story, and that we all are musical. We're humans, and we hear music, we feel music, and we are music. And these sculptures sort of resonate that energy for me. And they remind me, I love having musical instruments in my environment because as a composer, when you see certain instruments, you kind of think, well, what if? And what if I had the cello? What if I used cello on this? And what if I used brass on this track? So it kind of helps me to create those sounds in the music and to incorporate them. He's kind of cool. The saxophone was a gift. A 1924 Con is a saxophone. There's a banjo. His booty is a banjo. You remember my first instrument was actually the xylophone, first grade. So everything has a story. I think this one is composed. The femur is clarinet, and I think this might have about 12 different instruments from top to bottom. So yeah, that's kind of another thing that is an extension of being this writing, performing artist, traveling the world, and things resonate. You know, you see things. I travel to museums. I love visiting museums, and I'm inspired. I'm working on something right now I can tell you about later, but I'm working on another piece of furniture actually, and it'll be interesting to see how that comes out. So I was going to mention what's on all of our minds right now. On top of going through this COVID-19, you people have some nerve to throw up this despicable act of taking one's life simply because everything that person is something that you envy. So I'm still processing like the rest of us, and I think this might be the last time. You know, there's an old gospel song that goes, maybe the last time, I don't know. That's the way I feel about this. This is a tune that was a collaboration. I'm not going to get through the whole tune, probably not, but I want you to hear it. It's a collaboration with a woman, a great vocalist from South Africa. Her name is Simpiwe Dana. And you probably have heard they call it the click language or the Kosa language. And she sings the first verse, and she sings in her language on this recording as well as in English. And this is just a little bit of a slice of that tune that resonates so much for me after we lost our beautiful George Floyd these last couple of days. And this one resonated to me. I think I actually re-uploaded it to YouTube and to Facebook just because it was the only thing I could say that I knew had the message in it. We have walked for so long with our heads to the ground, amazing grace. We have died for so long with our heads under the boot. Quase toccare di guaie, oh na, amazing grace. Save me now from the birth becomes my enemy. Come on, brothers, come on, sisters, come on, lovers of life. You become my enemy from the birth. Come on, lovers of life. It's been a long time coming. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. And we've come a long way from home. A long way from home. And when I look back and I wonder how we got along. amazing grace. Quando sei toccare di guane, That means that means in the beginning, she where there was God. In the beginning, there was God. I hope someone was singing along with me on that. I know you were, right, Merc? And
someone is asking who some of your inspirations were, and also some of the modern ancestors.
Okay, modern ancestors. You know, that's another thing I wanted to call attention to. My most recent recording is called Modern Ancestors, and the point being that when we think of ancestry, we tend to think of those who are so far ahead of us that we don't know them unless we can check our roots and find out all the lineage preceding us, maybe, a century or so ago. But I wanted to deal with the modern ancestors, the ones that have been here, even up to now. And that's the reason for the album title. But I want to acknowledge Jimmy Cobb. And I had the pleasure of recording with him, thanks to Jerry Allen and Timeless Portraits and Dreams, another modern ancestor, Jerry. Onaji Allen Gums, great pianist who we did records together. He's actually on my earlier records, Moment to Moment. Also on This Is Carmen Lundy, you can hear Onaje there. Mike Longo, Lee Konitz, Wallace Roney, Bucky Pizzarelli, Little Richard. This is, it's hard, it's hard to recover so quickly when you lose this kind of a massive, great offering from so many beautiful artists and so many others whose names I can't speak right now, but we know that they're here with us in spirit. My inspiration, when people ask you that, the first thing you want to do is you want to answer with famous names. You want to say, oh, it was Ella Fitzgerald, oh, it was Sarah Vaughan. But I think it happened for me in different stages. So the beginning stages, I watched my mother, my parents. I'm the oldest of 7 kids. My grandparents, my mother's parents, were, my grandfather built the church that still stands today. And of course his wife, the mother of the church, as we say. And all of their children played some kind of instrument. I have an aunt who wanted to be a jazz singer, actually. I found this out maybe a year or two ago. She set out to be a jazz vocalist. My mother sang a lead in a gospel group called the Apostolic Singers. And as a child, if I behaved, I get to sit and watch them rehearse. So I'm about 4 or 5, watching them rehearse, and I hear my aunt, trying to set them up with something, and they go, ha, 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 and they'd be, no, your note is ha, her note is ha, that sort of thing. So I'm thinking, well, I know that note, so I'm going to grow up and I'm going to join this group, because I would show up at their, at church, of course, not show up, but I was at church with the rest of my family for many years, and I would watch those songs they rehearsed tear the church up. Okay, so I watched how they put that together, and I saw the end result, and I thought, so I knew that music was definitely a path for me. When I got into, the piano lesson started at 4 or 5 or 6, but the singing, kept calling. So when I got into middle school, I joined a chorus. That was where I really started to hear classical choral music as opposed to gospel church music. And that's where I really began to really apply understanding the reading of notes and harmonizing with other voices and all of that, as opposed to piano where you just kind of play the chord. And my early chords sounded like this, like so many other people. But I just love the sound of this as a major C. To me, that's prettier than this. So from there, it just kept going. I knew I would be a music major, but at the time, you sort of went for teaching as opposed to performance. But when I got there, I chose performance. But I chose performance in the classical world, not having a clue about jazz. So I think in that little space is where I was introduced to Roberta Flack. Now, Roberta Flack is cool for me because if you listen to Roberta, you kind of hear Carmen McRae. Think about it. Listen to Roberta and then play Carmen McRae. There's something there's symbiotic something vibe there. But I thought, since I wasn't going to sound like Aretha, even though I wanted to be Aretha Franklin, I knew that I didn't have, it wasn't in my mechanics, in my physiology. So when Roberta came along, it gave me a sense of the possibilities. But up until then, it was all about Aretha Franklin. It was all about Dionne Warwick, Roberta Flack. And then I got to the University of Miami, and that's where I'm introduced to jazz. But I'm introduced to jazz, the instrumental sounds. So the Miles Davises, the Cannonballs, Coltrane's, that's what I heard first. Someone played Ella Fitzgerald's Scatting on High, High the Moon, and that I was higher than the moon after that. So I think Ella was first, and then Billie Holiday. So it was funny to come from this vocal training, la 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 la. Billie wasn't about all that. Her early years, yes, the early voice, but we all come to know her and love her for her later years. And then, of course, Sarah. For me, Sarah Vaughan, Billie Holiday, Ella, Carmen. Come on, everybody. You know what I'm talking about. So, The Island Sea and You is a request someone's asking for, but it's a very difficult song to play on the piano for me. I wrote it on the guitar in a hotel room in Hawaii. And I borrowed someone's guitar, and I'm sitting there, with the windows open, looking out of the ocean, and I'm just sort of like, so warm, so cool, so calm, so smooth, so soft, so kind of blue, so clear, so bright, a starry night, the island, the sea, and you, footprints, something like that, in the sand, woman in wonderland, the island, the sea, and you, my love. That's what happened. That's really what happened. Just the way, that's how that tune happened. As a matter of fact, I didn't even have the lyric yet, so it was just ba-ba, ba-ba, boo-ba, 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 boo-ba. But when I got home, I wrote the lyric because I can reflect on that incredible, beautiful place. It really is a slice of heaven here on earth. And unspoiled, and I think they're going to keep it that way. It's just, the island sea and you. So I find it a very difficult tune to translate. So warm, so smooth, so calm, so smooth, so soft, so kind of blue, so clear, so bright, starry night, the island, it's that's the way it is. That's the way it is. It's and there are certain things that I can do here that I can't do there, and vice versa. So this is one of those tunes where I really had to work at remembering the inspiration for it. And that's how, I think that's what you love about it. You can really hear the air. You can really feel the warmth that's generating in that tune. So I'm glad you like that. I'm really glad you like that one. I love it too. Any more questions? So what do you think? I really believe that although I didn't set out to be a composer or songwriter, I am a vocalist. You know, that's ultimately, I'm singing my songs. But the idea of bringing you new music is so important. I think it's important for where we are in the jazz lexicon. It's time for new music to start to float in. And we can sit right alongside those other Billboard people, you know, with their songs in the top. You know, just bring something new. So I'm about new. You know, and it's better for me to be an old girl singing some new stuff. Okay. I want to do this one. Old friend, good friend, my friend, old friend. You've been there through it all, my friend, good friend. When I was down, you came around just like a friend. Old girl, Seth, still here through laughter and tears, regrets, secrets shared between us, and love and trust. Through thick and thin, you've always been my friend. Oh, friend. You can tell this is my last song, right? Through thick and thin, you've always been. Through thick and thin, you've always been. Thank you, everybody. So thank you so much. One more time, I want to just mention the Afrasia Productions. People want more? People want more?
Yeah, of course.
Oh. Let's see.
Oh,
I did those two songs. Let's see, we'll do this one. When will they learn? When will they know? Why don't they see? They cannot grow. Running away. Living each day in the clouds. Where is the love? Have they no shame? Losing their mind, feeling no pain, spinning around. Can't keep their feet on the ground. You can see in their eyes that they're lost and alone. What they need in their life is to find a way home. When will they learn? When will they know? Why don't they see? They cannot grow. They believe their own lies, always right and never wrong. I see tears in their eyes, and they're out of control. When will they learn? When will they know? Why don't they see? I love them so. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. And so I hope it was well worth it. Taking your time out to chill back, hit back, and stay the course with us. And that's what we're doing. We're going to stay the course, folks. We're not going anywhere. And until the next time, wherever that is. And I could really, this is the part I miss the most. Can I tell you the part I miss the most? Wait. This is what I really miss. Thank you, everybody. Mwah. Thank you. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, audience. Thank you for tuning in, checking us out. Thank you so much. And thank you for your support to the Jazz Foundation of America. Thank you. Let's hang tight. Hang tough. Thank you.